Hi everyone, this is Esateys. Today I have an interesting subject for you. One thing that can hurt you and your relationships. This is something that some people won't fess up to, but think about this as I'm speaking about it. You don't have to tell anybody. But the bottom line is this is something that virtually everybody does. First of all, let's start with a basic. We're humans, we judge. Got it? We can't not judge. See, and we have a tendency to look over there and look at somebody and say, yo, you're doing something that I don't think is good. Or maybe you're over there thinking, oh, you're doing something I like. Either way, it's a judgment. It doesn't really matter whether it's good, bad, right, or wrong. It's a judgment. So that's just something that we do as humans. And so that's cool. You know, we have awareness that we're humans and we judge. But the things that we judge that are negative, so to speak, are usually things where we will look at somebody and we'll say, they're doing this and that's not okay with me. Well, when we look at that, then we can look inside and say, how come that's important to me? Well, perhaps one of the reasons is because if we think they're doing something that's not in alignment to what we believe, we don't feel safe. They're rocking our boat. So what do? We keep score. They did this, especially in personal relationships. They did this, they said that, and that means, and they did it like twice now. So we start gathering our scorecards along the way here in our lives with people. And when we do that, guess what happens? We hurt ourselves because we start to build up a wall between ourselves and others. We are right. We stand strong about being so right. And when we're so strong about being right, what we do is inadvertently, we make them wrong. And there's another mark. I'm right. They're wrong. So our scorecard is looking pretty interesting now, and we're watching it kind of closely. Okay, I'm right more than them, and pretty much I'm right and they're wrong, so I'm really awesome and they're really messed up. That's kind of what we do on a subconscious level. Sometimes it's a very conscious level. And what happens is that when we stay in that place where we're staying right, we may stay right, but the question is, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Because right doesn't always mean happy. And in fact, it almost always doesn't. Because when we're right, we're again creating that polarity. Right, wrong, good, bad. We're living in this dichotomy where somebody wins and somebody loses. And you're probably asking yourself, well, how do I not do that? Well, there's ways that you can not do that. One is make a decision. Decide for yourself that I'm choosing to let go of my judgments. And I'll tell you, from my own personal experience, it isn't the easiest thing in the world to do, because all of those things that we judge are things that are going to help us feel better about ourselves. It's going to help us feel like we are safe and we are comfortable in our zone. And then when we feel that, we think that we're empowered and we can take on anybody, we can take on anything because we're so good, and we're so right, and we're so all these things. But it doesn't bring us happiness. So the question to ask yourself is, do you need to be the right thing, or do you want to really reach a place where you're really cohesive with life? With other people, align to them? Does that mean you have to like go into their world and say, oh, you're right and that's great and blah, blah, blah? No, it doesn't. What it allows you to do is look back and go, wow, I'm human, they're human. Can I just be okay with their humanness? Can I allow them to think what they think without thinking that that's better or worse than what I'm thinking? Can I stop giving my power away and to them and saying, okay, if you think this, then I have to defend myself. I have to justify myself. I have to get strong within myself. Have you ever really spent any time with some deep introspection about that? I invite you to do that. It's very powerful when you do. And when you do, you're going to see where you play these inner games inside yourself. Because when you are keeping score, You are not in a place where you are going to ever build a relationship with somebody. It will always build a wall. So keep that in mind when you're doing your judgment thing, you're doing your scorecard thing, because you know what? It doesn't work. If your desire is to be happy, if your desire is to be connected, if your desire is to make the world a better place, we have to do some things differently. So you can ask yourself the question, what if I wasn't right? What if they weren't right? What if I didn't need to be right? What if they're thinking what they're thinking and I'm thinking what I'm thinking, and that's okay? And I know some of you are probably thinking, yes, but it really affects my life. Well, it affects your life because you allow it to affect your life. The majority of things that are happening in your life, A, haven't even happened, or 100% of the time, it's coming from the past. Something from your past. Something from your past has created you thinking that if this happens, I won't be safe. I won't be loved. One of those core issues is going to come up. And so, like a wild person, we jump frequently into survival. That's what's happening on our planet right now. All of the dichotomy that we have going on is bringing up survival for so many people. They're really frightened about what's going to happen in their life. You might be one of those people. And if it's important to you to stand up and say what it is that you feel, then do that, because that's important internally. It's just like a drive. And can you do it without the rage and without all of the other things that go with it? Can you do it without making somebody else wrong, but rather just saying, and this is how I feel? Because usually what we do is, this is how I feel, and you do not feel, and you are not allowed, and you are not going to be good enough, or you are not going to control. We get into this thing, and pretty soon our scorecard about individuals and about ourselves and about life, because we do this with ourselves too. Oh, I really said that just really good. I did a great Facebook Live. I messed up. You know, my lighting was off. My eyes weren't in the right place. You know, what do we do? How do we judge ourselves in every single moment? It's a pretty fascinating thing. When you can become the observer of your life and you start to notice everything that's going on, we are playing a really interesting and incredible game here. And if you can look at it that way, and if you can look at the role you're playing in your own movie, you're not going to be fretting all the time. You're going to be smiling more, because you're going to go, whoa, I'm going to get an Academy Award for the way I'm playing, and so is he, so is she. So if you're willing to ask yourself the questions, what if I wasn't right? What if they weren't right? What if things were just happening? Gosh, maybe your life would feel completely different. So my support to you is to allow for their humanness and allow for your own humanness. Quiet down. You do not have to be so rough on you or other people. Take a nap. Take some peaceful breathings. Do whatever it is that you need to do to just get centered in your moment and recognize that life is working. And the universe is always conspiring to support you. Remember that. It's very important that when you do that and when you experience that, you will throw away your scorecard. You will start to dissolve those walls between yourself and between yourself and others, and you'll find your heart growing, and you'll find your life really changing. So I invite you to join me today in making this a new day where we rip up our scorecards and we start being more connected with each other. Because that's where life changes. That's where life begins. That's where the joy emerges from. And I know in your heart and soul, like you said, it is that you desire as well. So be the observer, enjoy your movie, and I am so appreciative of you sharing this. Putting this on your timeline really helps other people get an opportunity to perhaps view things a little bit differently than they might have usually. The other thing is, I'm very, very appreciative of you making the comments that you're making, because I'm loving getting all the comments. It really supports me in knowing that you're with me, because I'm just here chatting, and I just love knowing your feedback, that you're with me, that you got it, you need something, tell me what it is you'd like me to hear about. And so until next time, feel a hug and tear up that scorecard.